Let's go around the campaigns, and we'll start at Lee Cowan at Obama campaign headquarters, and we'll mention this again in the form of a question. The NBC News characterization at 8 o'clock, which is the earliest time anybody makes any characterization. The New Hampshire Democratic primary, Obama and Clinton are in a tight race, which is too close to call. Is that good news or bad news at Obama campaign headquarters, Lee?
Well, I think it's a little nail-biting here, to say the least, although the campaign would say that this is very similar to the way Iowa started. Actually, it started out rather slow, and it wasn't until some of the bigger areas started coming in that Barack Obama started to open up that lead in front of Hillary Clinton. People started filing in here about an hour ago. They're expecting about 1,500 people here. That's as many as the fire marshal would allow in this building. We haven't seen any of the top campaign advisors here yet. We do understand the senator and his wife, Michelle, are not here. They're watching the return somewhere else. They haven't even had dinner yet, waiting for these results to come in, so they're watching them just as closely as we are.
Lee Cowan at Obama headquarters, and as we continue to look at all of the campaign headquarters with the polls now closed, as the backgrounds begin to fill up, Andrea Mitchell is covering the Clinton campaign and is at the headquarters at Southern New Hampshire University in Manchester. Andrea, once again, no characterization on this race, too close to call, too early to call. Is that good news or bad news at the Clinton campaign headquarters?
Well, of course, they would wish that too close to call could continue. The fear, of course, would be that it's not their voters that are coming in late. Their concern would be that they've already counted a large proportion of their folks, because all of the tracking, their own and every other campaign, indicated to them that this was going to be a very, very tough night indeed. And talking to them all throughout the day today, they were expecting a pretty big loss. So if they can narrow this, if they can pull it closer to Barack Obama, or even be too close to call for a while, I think they would not only spin that as a catch-up and a victory of sorts, even though the raw numbers are not with them, they would be very, very pleased.
Andrea Mitchell at campaign headquarters for Senator Clinton. Great thanks. We now have a call to make in the Republican part of this primary. The projected winner is John McCain. We saw those hard numbers giving him a lead of about 8–9% over Mitt Romney, the former governor of Massachusetts. But this lining up with what those polls looked like going in. And there it is at 37% with 12% of the vote in. NBC News is able to project that based on these events, that the winner of the New Hampshire primary will be John McCain. Kelly O'Donnell of NBC News is at McCain campaign headquarters, where I imagine this is going over pretty well, Kelly.
Yes, news travels fast here. The eruption of applause. You may be able to hear "Mac is back" being chanted. There's been a really upbeat mood. When you've been talking about the psychology of these campaigns, it's really been on the upside here for the few hours we've been here as the crowds have filtered in. This is a tight room. It's the same one they used back in 2000 when McCain won then. So the crowds are certainly big tonight. The enthusiasm is big. And now that this race has been called for John McCain, it means one very important thing. The man who was out of it last summer is now the winner of a primary, and that will afford him a chance to go forward and contest this nomination, try to win it for the man who's the oldest one in the race. At 71, age has been an issue. The whole issue of change has been discussed at length. McCain has said the kind of change he's been about is being the first to go against Secretary Rumsfeld a couple of years ago to urge support of the surge in Iraq. That kind of change against this generational push we've seen on the Democratic side. So people here are very happy. We've already seen the state chair coming forward to thank supporters. So there's a lot of happiness here. Back to you guys.
Kelly O'Donnell drowned out as happy McCain supporters celebrate what is their projected triumph at the New Hampshire primary. Kelly, we'll get back to you perhaps when it gets a little quieter. Now let's go over to what must be an entirely different environment, the Mitt Romney campaign, where the former governor of Massachusetts now has to face the fact that Mike Huckabee won Iowa. John McCain is going to win New Hampshire based on NBC News projections of exit polls and those early results. As you're seeing the hard numbers in front of you, nearly 8,000 votes to nearly 6,000 votes, with still a very small percentage of the data actually in, but the projection is in. For how that is going down in Bedford, New Hampshire at Romney headquarters, let's go to Ron Allen. Ron?
Well, Keith, there's one guy up on the stage playing guitar, and nobody out here is singing along. There's a lot of blank stares, a lot of people just looking at the screen. in some level of disbelief that this has happened. Romney was optimistic. He thought he was going to win. This, of course, is the second time now, Iowa, followed by New Hampshire, state where he had a lead and lost it. The way they're going to spend it, however, is that this is a solid second-place finish. I can hear the words coming out of their mouths now. They're going to say they were second in Iowa, second here, won Wyoming, a very quiet win over the weekend. They're also going to say that here they beat Thompson, they beat Giuliani, and they're probably also going to say that here they beat Huckabee, which is going to throw the race wide open, is what the Romney camp is going to try to portray this as. And they're also looking forward to Michigan, which is the next state up, next Tuesday, a state where Romney could have an advantage because he was born there, his father was governor there, and so he hopes to get a lot of backing there as well. But again, the margin seems to be pretty significant, 8 or 9 points. It also seems to be another situation where a particular constituency, independents here, may have helped John McCain over the top, as was the case in Iowa, where the evangelical community pushed Huckabee over the top. So a lot of bad news here for Romney. He had been saying all along that to win the nomination, he thought he could win Iowa and New Hampshire. That could catapult him to the front. Not happening, so they're retooling. This week, though, I can tell you that when they came back from Iowa, they were really trying to retool their campaign and say that this was going to be a race between Romney and McCain. And they were trying to portray it as an insider versus an outsider, an artist of change, another word we've heard so much. But some disappointment here in the Romney camp. Guy's still playing by himself on the stage. Keith?
An extraordinary analogy and an apt one from Ron Allen at the headquarters of the apparent runner-up of Mitt Romney, although we don't have the firm prediction on that. That is almost a certainty. The NBC News projection, if you've not heard, is John McCain, the victor in the Republican primary. The first part of the night being decided, the other one being decided as too close to call at this hour. In the interim, NBC's David Schuster is at Huckabee headquarters in New Hampshire with reaction already to the John McCain victory as McCain joins Huckabee in that, again, to use that reality show analogy, the indemnified area, the indemnities. David, what's going on?
Well, Keith, great satisfaction as the word is spreading through the crowd that John McCain has been declared the winner in New Hampshire. We just spoke to Alice Stewart, who is Governor Mike Huckabee's spokeswoman. She says, we like John McCain, or as the governor says, we love John McCain. Clearly, they feel great satisfaction in part because they believe that John McCain bore the brunt of the negative ads that Mitt Romney ran in New Hampshire, like Mike Huckabee did in Iowa. Great satisfaction here, Keith, that the negative ads, in their view, that were aimed at John McCain did not work. They believe that this sets up Mike Huckabee very well for the states ahead. They're going to take even greater satisfaction, Keith, if the results come out that they have beaten Rudy Giuliani, Ron Paul, Fred Thompson. If that is how this shapes up and they do finish in third place, they'll be very, very satisfied, very happy here tonight at Huckabee headquarters.
So are they then satisfied with the prospect of a 3-horse race? Is that close enough for them to be considered on a par with Romney sort of staggering towards his hometown and McCain coming off this victory here tonight?
Keith, that's absolutely right. They did not want to see Romney go from a second place in Iowa to a first place in New Hampshire. They wanted somebody to beat him here, possibly McCain, given that McCain wasn't so competitive with Huckabee in Iowa. But they believe that Romney is weakened and that Huckabee, by virtue of not having spent a lot of time here, not having spent very much money, and really having invested in the future in South Carolina, that they benefit from a 3-way race involving McCain, involving Romney headed towards South Carolina. So to see Romney wounded, to see Romney kept from getting a victory tonight, they believe is extremely helpful to them. They say that they'll worry about John McCain at a later time.
David Schuster, who was at Huckabee headquarters for us. Thank you, David.